And we're in. Stop going. Thank you. 30 seconds.
Hello and welcome to High Noon Live with myself and Ntsiki Mkhize, right here every Monday where we have mentor conversations, speaking to incredible women in business and sharing her journey. And joining me in studio today is Sibusiso Nomsa, who is the CEO and founder of the Transformation Legacy. Welcome, Sibusiso. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So I love the work that you do because I care about entrepreneurs. That's the space that you're in, and not just working with entrepreneurs, but really making sure that they create businesses that create a legacy and leave behind a legacy. But before we talk about that, I want to understand, how did you get here? You know, there's a lot of people who are mentors, business advisors, coaches, but I don't think there's a clear path to here, you know? So what did that journey look like for you?
It was definitely not a clear path for me, nothing linear. I studied BCom accounting with the ambition of becoming a chartered accountant. In my second year, I knew that actually I want to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And I started a little business selling clothing, and I wanted to make fashion accessible to just everybody. One of the things that I was passionate about, and I still am, is fashion and really looking good. So I thought, how do I turn this into generating income and pursuing something that I love while studying to become an accountant? Then when I completed my studies, I decided I'm absolutely not going the accounting route. I want to really explore entrepreneurship further, but I wasn't ready at that stage. So I decided to work in the fashion industry so I could get a little bit of understanding in terms of, you know, how that works. So I decided to work in the retail space, and I moved my way up and became a fashion buyer. And then even there, I found dissatisfaction, and I thought, no, I really have to do this full time. And so I ventured off to running my fashion designing business on a full-time basis.
Amazing, yeah.
So really loved that. It was something that I was really passionate about, but there was a void inside of me that felt like, no man, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? You know, I wanted to make a bigger difference. I felt like there's something more I needed to do. And I felt like there was a part of me that lay dormant inside of me, but I didn't know what that was. So when my business was not doing well, I think it was in the third year of my business, I then decided I want to actually study entrepreneurship. Yes, I know accounting. I know how books work. I know how to manage finances. But I still felt like, you know, I needed to equip myself in terms of becoming an astute entrepreneur. Looked for short courses, wasn't satisfied with the curriculum, and then I decided, you know what, let me just go full on and do my master's degree in entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So I did that, and my sole purpose of it was I really wanted to understand how to build a business so that I can grow my business. And I wanted, you know, I had the vision of having my brand be recognized internationally. So that was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Then second semester hit while I was still studying for entrepreneurship. We had an assignment where we had to turn around a business that was struggling to survive. So we basically were allocated a business, a real life business, with a business owner who was also struggling. And the main objective of that assignment was to make sure we turn around that business. And for me, I was like, how do I even turn around this business when my own business
It's not
right?
It's not doing what I wanted to do.
I don't want to do this assignment. Let's do it for my business. But we had to do that as part of, you know, fulfilling that subject. And so I was allocated a business. There was a pet shop in in Brakpan. So all the way from Pretoria driving to Brakpan, and I was like,
mission.
this is not going to work,
Yeah.
but anyway, I want to pass this module. But it was working with that entrepreneur where I felt like I was called to mentor businesses.
Yeah.
I know that, you know, when it comes to a calling, we all have different experiences.
Yeah.
But for me, business mentorship and business coaching, I feel that it was a calling.
Yeah.
I think I was 25 or 26 then, and I just had so much wisdom to share with that entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I myself in my own business was struggling. But I was able to facilitate knowledge and information that they could use to turn around their business.
Yeah.
So I knew then that I needed to go into business mentorship and needed to work with entrepreneurs to help them build their businesses.
Yeah.
So that's where my journey began.
And that is a gift and a talent to have, because I think sometimes when you're in something, you can't really see what's happening, but the moment you step out of it, you can kind of analyze and go, hey, these are the blind spots, that's the direction you should take, and you are able to give really good advice.
Yeah.
I want to go back to your decision to shift from accounting into fashion to where you are now. And I know a lot of people kind of find themselves somewhere and they realize that I'm not where I'm supposed to be and this is not what I'm wanting to do, but they're afraid to change, you know, whether it's because they've already taken out the student loan or because my parents expect me to complete this degree or whatever it is. What was the guiding motivation for you, you know, that kind of said, okay, cool, I know this is no longer what I want to do, but I'm going to finish this degree and then I'm going to pivot. How did you overcome any kind of, you know, if you had any hesitation, how did you overcome the hesitation at that point?
For me, I've always lived by the notion that I only want to do what fills my heart and what I love. So that's always been like the compass in the decisions that I make. Not to say that it's not difficult, but I think I always default to that, to asking myself, is this really what I love? Is this in alignment with what fulfills me?
Yeah.
And I always want to be true to myself. So integrity is a big part of who I am and how I live and how I make decisions. And the most important aspect of integrity is being in integrity with myself.
Yeah.
So I had to ask myself, okay, if you're pursuing this career in accounting, and it was very tempting. I had a job offer already, prospect of, you know, being independent and all of those things. But I had to ask myself, are you being in integrity with yourself? You know, is you pursuing a career in accounting, you know, going to fulfill you? Do you love it? Is it something, and are you going to give your new employer what you need to give them? And I couldn't, I really...
Yeah, you couldn't answer that wholeheartedly.
Like,
and
no,
say
I
that's
could not.
definitely what
And I'm
going
like,
to.
no,
Yeah.
I have to do the difficult thing and really pursue what I love.
Yeah, shout out to you for doing the difficult
Thank
thing because it's led to such an incredible career in business. After the break, we unpack a bit more around what does the industry and the space of supporting SMEs look like. Hello and welcome back to Mentor Conversations with myself and Ntsiki Mkhize right here on High Noon Live. I am speaking to Sibusiso Nomsa, who is the CEO and founder of the Transformation Legacy. Now, before the break, we were talking about your incredible journey. So, you know, pivoting from accounting into fashion and retail into being a business coach. And I like the academic approach to studying for and around entrepreneurship, but I did want to find out from you, in your experience, is that something that you think is necessary? You know, so have you found that entrepreneurs, and I think maybe even business coaches who study the discipline of entrepreneurship, you know, do better or show up better compared to entrepreneurs that, you know, who it's just in the blood and they just happen to know how to do it?
I think, yeah, I might sound biased because whenever I go into something, I want to learn. I want to learn every aspect of it. So I always lean more towards the academic,
Route.
part.
Yeah.
But I also believe that it does not have to be, learning does not have to be in a form of traditional education. Whatever you choose. So let's say you decide to start a business. For me, I always say you need to understand all the aspects of running a business, all the aspects of starting a business.
Yeah.
And in learning and understanding, you've got a base, you've got a foundation. So when you come across the typical challenges of running a business, you've got a toolkit to tap into and say, okay, but I've learned this before. I know that in the growth phase, these are the typical challenges. And I know that based on what other entrepreneurs have gone through, case studies that we went through when I was learning, this is how I could approach it. So it just gives you, a better chance of success. It forms like a buffer. And we're not saying that you having learned entrepreneurship is going to make you immune to challenges within the business. But what it really does is it gives you a toolkit that you can carry with you when you're making decisions. Same way with business mentors and business coaches. Really, it's so important to understand business coaching, what it is, how do you coach effectively, what things do you need to look out for in the people that you're coaching that will help you really empower them and develop them in a way that, will have maximum impact in their business. So I always lean towards education in whatever form works for you. So if it's the academic way, that's fine. If it's informal, where you're reading books, or where you have a mentor who is transferring their knowledge to you and providing you with guidance, happy with that as well.
Yeah, all of that adds value.
Right?
Yeah.
It honestly does. For me, whatever you go into, take the time to understand the background of it.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think it's also because you don't know what you don't know,
Exactly.
And so when you go through the process of finding the knowledge and finding people who have the knowledge and information, that adds to your ability to show up better. Talk to us a little bit about the space of actually being a business mentor and coach. What does that industry actually entail, and what does working with entrepreneurs, that process, what does that look like?
Yeah. So business mentorship is basically about guiding an entrepreneur and helping them along the way of building a business. I always say business mentorship is not providing entrepreneurs with advice all the time. It's about asking questions that will help an entrepreneur get to the point where they build up their critical thinking so that they can get to a point where they improve the type of decisions they make in their business. And along the way, you provide them with information, you'll provide them with some advice, but at the core of it, it's really about bringing out the true potential of that entrepreneur by helping them to think critically, to think strategically, and to see their business beyond their current circumstances. Usually when entrepreneurs come to us for mentorship, it's when they are experiencing challenges. It's when they're like, I'm not meeting my sales targets, customers are not coming to us. So they're seeing the current situation. So when we mentor them, yes, we'll help them address the current challenge, but we'll also help them see their business beyond those current circumstances and to explore further possibilities to making sure that, they reach their business potential.
Yeah, I like that because I often find that mentors help with a helicopter view, that it's somebody who can come in and go, okay, I see where you're stuck. This is how you kind of get out of that situation. I'm curious to understand a bit more about, the industry and your experience with entrepreneurs, especially through COVID. Do you find that entrepreneurs naturally gravitate towards finding the coaching and mentorship that they need, or is it when they're like, okay, I'm drowning, I literally need somebody to help me get out of it? And I think with that in mind, how have you structured your programs in such a way that they speak to exactly where the entrepreneur is?
Most entrepreneurs come to us when they're drowning. Not when they're exploring possibilities, really when they're drowning, when already they're experiencing these challenges.
When it has to work.
When it has to work, and when time is tight, resources are tight, and what we've done is we've got different programs to address the different stages where entrepreneurs are. So we've got programs where an entrepreneur is starting out And we're saying, it's, I'll give you an example of one of the programs. It's called the Transitioning Entrepreneur Program, where we're saying when you are transitioning into entrepreneurship,
Yes.
join this program. Before you even go into full-time entrepreneurship, let us help you transition. So we've got that program. We've got a program for startup businesses. We also have programs for businesses that are in their growth phase, as well as those that feel that they are mature, but they are stagnant. So what we've done is we've developed programs for these different phases to address the different stages that entrepreneurs would typically be in.
Yeah, and that shows really good understanding for what is happening on the ground for the entrepreneur themselves. Going into the space, I'm curious to know about the challenges, so I think people on the ground, for one, can't always differentiate between a mentor, an advisor, a coach, and, who has the right kind of resources to help me. What have been some of the challenges for you in setting yourself up as a business specifically focused on supporting SMEs?
I think one of the challenges for us is getting entrepreneurs to understand that they need business mentorship and coaching services. A lot of the times, entrepreneurs don't understand what business mentorship and coaching is and how it can help them grow their business. So, having to go into educating entrepreneurs. And also, what also helps us to reach more entrepreneurs is having sponsored programs. So we partner with corporates to implement enterprise and supply development programs. And that helps us have a bigger reach on entrepreneurs who are not familiar with mentorship, but they're willing to try it out because it's a sponsored program. So that's how they start getting to understand the value of business mentorship and coaching. But yeah, honestly, it is difficult, to get entrepreneurs in. But that's from a understanding point of view of how does business mentorship actually add value to my business. And as soon as they understand how it adds value, they get hooked. They get hooked.
So after the break, we're going to talk a bit more about that. What has Sibusiso's mentorship journey looked like, and what does that also look like for you as an entrepreneur?
One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we do.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching Mentor Conversations right here on High Noon Live with myself, Ntsiki Mkhize. We are in studio speaking to Sibusiso Nomsa, who is the CEO and founder of The Transformation Legacy. Now, we've had such a good conversation so far around, how you ended up in a space where you can be a business advisor and coach supporting SMEs, and also just understanding the landscape for entrepreneurs as well. But I want to understand how you found some of the mentorship that supported you on your journey. So when you were making these transitions that allowed you to get to here, where did you go to find mentors who understood the space and what you were trying to do?
Sure. I literally go everywhere. Like for me, I usually diagnose like where am I at and what do I need and where do I want to grow into. And based on that, I will browse through LinkedIn, I will go through social media, and if I've come across, other business women who have made it, who align with where I want to go, and who also have the same type of values as I do, then I just approach them. Like it's literally been about that. But I think when you're looking for a mentor, what has helped me is understand what you need.
Yes.
By first understanding where you are, what your gaps are, what are your areas of development, what areas you need to grow,
Yeah.
and what is your vision? What do you want to grow in? Where do you want to grow into? And that really helps to narrow down who you approach. I find that, you know, a lot of the times people will just approach someone who's made it in business, who's successful,
Yeah.
but that person is not necessarily the right mentor for you based on where you are and what you want to grow into. So yeah, for me, it's really about, you know, first establishing what I need and what I want to grow into, and starting with
And start from
searching,
there. Yeah.
searching for the right person.
I'm nodding so much because that's exactly what I talk to entrepreneurs about all the time. Because people will go like, "Oh, I just want a mentor," and they'll ask anybody, but they haven't actually gone through the process of diagnosing their own needs. You know, and it's you can't ask for help if you don't know where and what you need the help for.
Exactly.
And it also doesn't help you get a response if you just go, "Just help me," you know. It's kind of, and you say, "Hey, Busi, I'd like your help, and this is where I'm stuck, and this is why I think you can help me. Are you available to assist?" As you've grown in your business, you know, you've become more successful, you've become more senior, the organization has grown. Is that still your same process for finding assistance in terms of people who know more, you know, sort of being able to match you at the level where you now are in business?
Definitely. I still do the same thing. Actually, I sent someone an email, a proposal, mentorship proposal, just a month ago, based on an area where I felt like I needed to develop. So one of those areas that I'm working on right now is, you know, taking my expertise in marketing and branding to the next level.
Yeah.
And I looked for a mentor who could assist me with that, found somebody, and, you know, I've sent them a proposal and just waiting to hear whether they can assist me. So it's still something that I do, because you don't stop learning, you don't stop growing. As your business grows, there's always something to work on. There'll always be something that you need to develop. And I'm a big fan of investing in yourself and continuous learning.
Yeah. I want to ask you, for people who aren't equally as, you know, committed to personal growth and development, or aren't even as academic, you know, so they don't really want to sit and read through material or do that hard work, do you have a quick way to kind of diagnose where you need help? Because I also find that one's ability to be conscious in where they are, it also affects their ability to grow, you know. So for somebody who goes, there's so much going on, it's coming at me from every direction, I don't have the slightest idea where to start. Is there a process that someone can follow to go, okay, let me self-diagnose and kind of identify 3 key areas where I do need support, so I can go find the support?
No, definitely. I think it's possible to self-diagnose. If you're already like in a place where there's a lot happening and you don't have clarity and you can't, you know, you can't see things clearly, it's always best to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
You know, it could be someone that you trust. It could be another professional to say, okay, just help me. Let's do a diagnosis exercise. You know, where am I at? You know, what is the current status of my business? What is the current status of my personal development? What do I need? You know, and where do I see myself growing into? So basically, it's basically those 3 questions.
Yeah.
Where am I at? What do I need? And what is the vision?
Yeah.
You know, and help, you know, get somebody to help you answer those questions. And that would be your diagnosis.
I like that. 3 easy questions to help you figure it out. But also I think finding somebody to help you be accountable. I'm sure people listening to this are going, okay, that's great. I want to understand the difference between having a business mentor, a business advisor, and a business coach. You know, is there a difference between those 3 people? Do I have to pay them all? And do I need all 3 at the same time?
You know, a good business mentor and coach will do all 3.
Yeah.
They will mentor, they will coach, they will advise.
Yeah.
So ideally, you want somebody that can do all 3.
Yes.
Coaching is, you know, urging you, holding you accountable, you know, showing you certain techniques in terms of how to do things. Mentoring is sharing the journey, providing you with guidance, providing you with support. Advising is literally giving you specific advice or specific information in terms of what you need. A good business mentor and coach can cover all 3.
Yeah.
So look for somebody. When you look for a business mentor, ask them that question: are you going to be able to coach me?
Yes.
What is your technique
Okay.
in terms of mentorship? Would you provide advice? You know, just to do your research, have a conversation with them to see whether they'll cover all three. And I always say, if you really want to get the best out of your business mentor, invest in it.
Yeah.
Let it be paid. Pay that person who's going to mentor you.
Yeah.
So that they can also be accountable
to that as
for
well.
for the guidance and
Yeah.
advice they're providing to you.
So I'm sure someone's going, okay, cool, I completely get it, and I think that's me, and I'd like to invest in myself by working with you. So for people who want to work with you on one of your programs or to join the Transformation Legacy, how can people go about doing that?
Right. They could send us an email on info@transformationlegacy.com or go to our website, which is transformationlegacy.com, where they can literally subscribe and share, their details with us. We're very accessible, so anybody can just send us an email and then we'll respond and provide them details of the programs that are available and how we can assist them or how we can enroll them onto programs. Every time I speak to people, I always say we are easily accessible. So even if you DM us on Instagram,
we will respond.
Or on Facebook, we will respond and send you all the information. Like, we literally sign up people within a few minutes or a few hours. So please, on any of our platforms, people can reach us to get, assistance that they need to grow their businesses.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for your time and sharing with us. I absolutely love the work that you're doing, and I wish you all the success as you grow from strength to strength in supporting more entrepreneurs to be sustainable in the work that they do and to have really good impact in the work that they do as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed this conversation. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you so much. And always a pleasure to have you guys joining us as well. Thank you so much for joining this edition of Mentor Conversations on High Noon Live. We will see you again for another episode. And in the meantime, please head over to our website, www.mentor.co.za, to get yourself a free copy of Mentor magazine and to also sign up for our Mentor Social Impact Summit. We'll see you there.
Hello there, my name is Nico Steyn and I'm coming to you from our little studio, which is a pop-up studio in Johannesburg, South Africa. It's called Tycoon Tribe, and what we have been doing to help people move online digitally is to convert the studio into a system that really works well and is half automated. So literally with a remote control, I'm able to run, for example, software such as Video Express.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So what this really enables us to do is to have very small crew work very efficiently, and the presenter can be in control of the switching by themselves as they go through the system and roll video in the background whenever they need it. So that is a really handy tool to have. We've used it for seminars, we use it for webinars, we also have people do interviews live like this, and of course it is completely global, completely digital, and a lot of fun because it is so easy to use. So we operate in the entrepreneurial space and we're having a lot of fun to help businesses and SMEs to really get their message out there in this new digital age. And thanks to software such as Video Express, we're able to be slick and ahead of the pack. You can check out our website at mybigsmartup.com.